Hello, people of Connecticut. I am Selena Rifkin, and this is our new segment called Make Connecticut Healthy Again. Don't ask me to pronounce that acronym, not happening. So, a little about me. I have a master's in nutrition and over 25 years of experience in finding and eating real non-processed food. And seriously, given the environment we're in right now, that can be a bit of a process. But even though I have a degree and I wrote the thesis, I don't expect you to just take my word for anything. And I'll always put sources in the show notes. I urge you to do your own research. We need to be responsible for our health. And we've given way too much of that over to doctors. So, for our first episode, I'm going to talk about milk. Now, just this last week, President Trump enacted the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act, which overturned the 2010 rules from the Obama era that restricted schools to fat-free or low-fat milk. The idea was they were combating obesity, which sketchy, but we'll get there. RFK Jr. pointed out at the signing that when children have only skim or 2% milk to drink, they switch to even less healthy choices. And that's a fair point. And I'm happy about this reversal. It's a step in the right direction. Skim milk, even 2%, has barely any flavor compared to whole milk. And if that was all I had available, I wouldn't have drunk it either. My mother actually tried for a while to have me drink skim milk because she thought something about it was bad for me. And I protested. I thought it was yucky, and I got my whole milk back. So, yay, lucky me. So, the basis for the Obama era rules was that the idea that eating fat caused obesity. But there's a big problem with that hypothesis because saturated fats play very important roles in the body. So if you don't eat them, you're going to have health problems. Saturated fats provide integrity to the cell membrane. They enhance the body's use of essential fatty acids, and they enhance the immune system. Saturated fats protect the liver, they contribute to strong bones, and they are the preferred food for the heart. I'm going to say that again. Saturated fats are the preferred food for the heart. Your body is going to make saturated fats out of carbohydrates if you don't eat enough. Cholesterol is very much the same. If you don't make cholesterol, if you don't eat enough cholesterol, your liver is going to make it. Cholesterol is another component of whole milk. It contributes to the strength of the intestinal wall and helps babies and children develop a healthy brain and nervous system. Babies and children need a lot of fat and cholesterol. Foods that contain cholesterol also provide many other important nutrients. It's only oxidized cholesterol, like what you find in powdered milk and powdered eggs, that contributes to heart disease. Powdered milk is routinely added to 1 and 2% milk to improve the flavor and texture. If we limit fats, we limit the availability of vitamins that need fats to transport them. Those vitamins are D, A, K, and E. Eating low-fat foods can lead to these being depleted in both adults and children. Vitamin D depletion will negatively affect the immune system. Do you get every respiratory thing that comes by? Have you had your vitamin D levels checked? Vitamin D deficiency is very common, especially in climates like New England, where you can't get it from the sun exposure for 6 months out of the year. Seriously, it's the wrong kind of sun rays. Children in particular need all of this in abundance so they can grow healthy brains. The brain is made of fat, completely made of fat. Depriving children of fats in the name of health ignores all physiology. In fact, the recommendation of keeping fat below 30% of dietary calories leaves most adults still feeling hungry, and we know what happens when we're still feeling hungry. So let's get back to milk. Well, whole milk is a big step up from skim or low fat. It isn't the best. Did you think I was going to say organic milk? Nope. Just about every brand of organic milk on the market is ultra pasteurized. This is when the milk is cooked at or above 280 degrees Fahrenheit for at least 2 seconds And that's either before or after it's in the packaging. And that's the purpose of this, is to extend its shelf life. You don't actually have to refrigerate ultra pasteurized milk. And they sell it in the refrigerator section because people probably wouldn't buy it if it weren't in the refrigerator section. But this process damages the very components of milk that make it healthy. In fact, this process makes a product that's less healthy than regular pasteurized milk. The best milk you or your children can drink is fresh, raw milk. So please hear me out. Don't freak out. Just don't, and don't just trust what I have to say. I'm going to recommend books, do your own research. I certainly did before I had my first glass. Before pasteurization, most European cultures had some form of milk and dairy. The Kung of Africa, and no, I am not going to do that click because I have no idea how to do it correctly. They still subsist primarily on meat and milk straight from the cow. If this wasn't a healthy and beneficial food, people wouldn't have been consuming it. The Kung are extremely healthy. The genetic mutations that allow us to drink milk, allowed us to drink milk before fermenting it, occurred 5 to 7,000 years ago. But we actually started consuming fermented dairy at least 9,000 years ago. Yeah, some people have trouble digesting milk, and that's usually because the enzyme that helps us digest lactose, i.e., milk sugar, is destroyed in the process of pasteurization. Enzymes are the chemical scissors that help us break down food. In fact, the absence of this enzyme is the test for adequate pasteurization. Raw milk comes with the enzymes needed for digestion. So, why does raw milk have such a scary reputation? How did it go from a food that was consumed by nearly everyone to a dangerous poison, at least in modern reputation? I had a whole conversation with Grok, the AI on X, on raw milk. Grok was not moving its position on the subject. According to Grok, this was a very dangerous thing to be doing. So back to reputation. And so in the 1800s, the demand for milk in the cities clashed with places to graze cattle. There just wasn't any place to graze cattle. And this coincided with the easy availability of something called distillery slop. And it wasn't long before cows were being housed below the distilleries and being fed the distillery slop. Cows didn't evolve eating distillery slop, and they can only produce healthy, good milk if they're eating real food. This milk that they produced from the distillery slop was so bad that they couldn't even make cheese or butter from it. There was no way for them to go outside, so they lived in unsanitary conditions, and that increased the milk's exposure to pathogens. The problem was so bad that half of infant deaths in urban areas could be attributed to distillery milk. The move to pasteurization might have killed the pathogens, but it didn't improve the quality of the milk. Modern cows, now we're back to modern times, modern cows get a scientific diet of grain, soybeans, bakery waste, which includes bread, cakes, pastries, and even candy bars, and something called citrus peel cake, which is loaded with pesticides, as well as pellets made from the swill of ethanol waste. Nobody eats ethanol. So cows in these conditions live for about a third of their natural lifespan. Kind of like us. Cows can't produce healthy milk when they're living on food they didn't evolve to eat. Kind of like us. What are they supposed to eat? Grass. Not candy bars, not distillery swill, not bakery waste, not cardboard. Yeah, cardboard. Not even grain. Grass. That's what they're supposed to eat. So, is milk that comes from cows in confinement better than children drinking energy drinks and soda? Probably. It stinks and it's tragic and it's terrible that this is the choice in front of us. But if this is the only choice, then I'd have to say yes, low quality pasteurized milk is better than energy drinks and soda. So, what if the milk being served was from cows on grass? This would be a lot better. Milk from cows on grass would contain many more of the nutrients that milk is supposed to. And it really wouldn't be a big deal to have milk trucked into the city from farms 2 or 3 times a week. Not being able to do that was really the major barrier in the 19th century, and we do not have that problem now. But why would I advocate for raw? Why is clean raw milk ultimately the best milk for children? Because heat destroys the enzyme that helps to digest lactose. Because heat destroys beneficial bacteria. And yes, raw milk has beneficial bacteria. Because heat destroys immune supporting properties in milk. Because heat destroys vitamins. And because heat destroys the natural germicidal properties of natural milk. Yeah, clean raw milk has its own germicidal properties. The enzymes lactoperoxidase and lactoferrin use little amounts of free radicals to seek out and destroy bad bacteria. Enzymes like this are wiped out by heat treatment. I'll put some links in the information that I'm sharing here in the show notes. And I'm not going to go further into the many benefits of raw milk, but you can try some for yourself and see what you think. Raw milk is actually legal for sale in Connecticut. It is not legal for sale in every state. And every few years, they try and wipe it out. If it becomes more popular, they'll try it again because it might be healthy. I've personally been to Hartford to advocate for keeping it legal in Connecticut. It's for sale in stores that sell local milk, like Carol Luzy's and health food stores. But I suggest you call first and ask because if they carry it, it usually sells out pretty fast. I'm really glad to see some movement toward better health on the national level. RFK Jr. is doing his best to deliver on a deeply rooted problem, but ultimately, it's up to us to take up responsibility for our health and create the demand for real food that supports local farms and rural communities. Your health matters. You are needed. Your families need you. Your communities need you. Go make the world a better place. God bless America. God bless Connecticut. And I'm Selena Rifkin, and I'll see you again soon.